Hello everyone, Jen Pike here, the founder of the Simplicity Project, the best-selling author of the Simplicity Project and the Simplicity Kitchen, the founder of the Simplicity Project Online, which is a 6-week course where I take the entire teachings of my book and bring them to life in understandable chunks so that you can come away from this course knowing everything you need to know about all the different systems of your body: digestion, where and how inflammation starts, how to exercise and move your body, which is what we're going to talk about today, all in respect to your booty and building a rock solid one, your skincare, hormones, all of it. So I had put out there last night, I've been doing a whole bunch of these mini Facebook Lives, which have just been a lot of fun and have got a lot of great traction. And I put out there last night and just asked this question: how many of you have building a better butt as one of your #1 body goals? The response was insane. It was insane. I can ask, how many of you want shinier hair? How many of you, want to wake up with less aches and pains? How many of you want to feel healthier? And I get, a little bit of traction. Holy crap. Asking if you want a better ass, my page lit up. It was ridiculous. So coming into this morning's Facebook Live, where I had something totally different planned that I was going to talk about, I just knew that I was going to have to talk about your ass. That is apparently what everybody's after. I said in my post, Megan Trainor was right. It is all about the base. So I'm going to share with you guys over the next 20 to 30 minutes, or however long it takes, my personal strategies on building your best booty. So this is a question that I get asked by women all the time, whether it is in classes that I've taught over the years or have been teaching or any of the workshops that I do. So I'm going to roll through a few of these things. Now, if you have questions that are coming up on the bottom, that is awesome. I encourage them. If I don't get to it right away and it's been a couple of minutes, repost it so that it flies back up in the loop. For those of you that are watching the recorded version of this, so later on today, it is Friday, April 28th, around 9:20 a.m. So if you're watching this beyond then and you're saying, hey Jen, and I'm not responding, it's simply because you're watching the recording and I'm not seeing you say hello right then and there. Keep the questions coming. I'll be checking this over the next couple of weeks as well. So let's get started. The first key to training your glutes and actually getting them to respond and to build is you have got to be consistent. So that doesn't mean that you need to be consistently talking about the fact that you want to have a better butt. It means that you actually have to physically participate in creating that. Now, if you are in a gym setting, if you're going to a yoga studio, if you're doing training at home, if you're following DVDs, whatever it is, if your approach right now is that you are training your glutes 1 day a week, good luck. It's not going to happen. And I'm just going to be honest with you about this. There's no sugarcoating around this. Training glutes 1 day a week is not enough. They are a large muscle group. They are a compound muscle group. It is not even just your glutes that we're hitting. There are stabilizers, hip rotators. You're always tapping into your thighs as well. I mean, we do ourselves such a disservice when we put such emphasis on strengthening your core. Your glutes are actually part of your core trunk, and they need a lot of work. You're sitting too often, whether you're driving in your car, you're sitting at your desk, you're sitting watching TV. Even when you're standing, you're not fully present in your body. You're not engaged. That whole posterior chain of your body. I always say to people, if you could spend less time focusing on what you see looking at you in the mirror, and you could step into your body and train in a way where you focus on everything that everyone else sees when you walk away from them, so your backs of your shoulders, your entire back body, your glutes, your hamstrings, these are the areas we need to be hitting more often. So my personal strategy behind building the booty that I have, that I train my clients to have, the women in my life that I work with, is you're going to hit your glutes at least 3 times a week. 3 to 4 times a week, to be honest with you. You're not going to do the exact same protocol. It's important that you vary what you're doing. So the consistency doesn't mean that you do the exact same thing consistently all the time. The consistency part of the formula is that you are engaging your body and moving your body consistently. So if your goal is to strengthen your glutes, your goal is to, lose inches, to reshape your body, to increase muscle tissue, to decrease the amount of fat that you have. You can't only eat healthy 3 days a week and exercise 3 days a week. You've got to put more energy and more effort into that. not to the point where you feel like you are dying every time that you train, but where your body starts to talk to you and is like, oh, this is different. This is slightly uncomfortable. I'm going to have to respond. So there's a couple of prongs in this approach. The first one is the consistency that you're exercising. In my opinion, we need to be moving our bodies at least 5 days a week. You need to move every day, but in a very specific way. 5 times a week of exercising is my personal formula for success. The movements that you're choosing specific to building your glutes have got to be a combination of compound exercises and movement. So this would be your squats, your lunges, your deadlifts, your thrusters, where you're incorporating more than just the glutes themselves. You're getting all of the accessory muscles to help to come in and to build that unit together as a whole. When you're squatting, you're not just doing the exact same foot stance of squats. You're going wider, you're coming narrow, you're varying your tempo, you're focusing on the concentric, on the eccentric parts of the contractions. You can take one type of movement and we can add so many different variables to it. And you could build an entire program just around squatting and still hit different aspects of your body each and every time. Same thing with your lunges, stationary lunges, reverse lunges, side lunges, elevated lunges, Smith squat lunges, barbell lunges, dumbbell lunges, step ups can be a variation of those lunges. You know, forward standing, there's so many different things. Even just changing the surface and using something like a Bosu ball where it's less stable. Now, for those of you who have any ankle issues and stability issues, you know, when you're doing some of these things, I'm just rhyming this off right now. I would highly recommend that all of you invest your money in working with a trainer at least 5 to 10 times throughout some period of your life so that you set the foundation, so that you understand how to move your body. This is the problem why so many people don't see the results, is you're simply just going through the motions. You know, you're up, down, you're stuck in your head. You're counting repetitions and focusing on getting through it instead of actually showing up and being in it and moving in it. You're going to get far more out of 5 quality kick-ass repetitions where you actually know how to move and how to get into the functionality of your body than you are if you just start to load on the weight or use these skimpy little weights and you're just doing it for tempo. So you really need to know how to move your body. Work with a performance specialist that knows how to teach you that. If you're going to a group exercise class, if you're going to a CrossFit class, if you're going to a Pilates class, you know, don't be afraid to even let the instructor know, look I want to work on my glutes. Let them be aware that you are trying to learn a different way to move your body and that you have specific goals. Because I know as an instructor for me, if a student comes up and is vulnerable enough to tell me that, my eyes are going to be on them way more often, and I'm going to make sure that they are feeling and getting what they showed up for. You want to use your time wisely. So stop focusing. Like, why are you stopping at 12 or 15 repetitions if your body could continue to go? Like, either one of two things has to happen. Either you need to increase your load, or you're not doing them properly. Because when you get to the end of a set, you should be thinking, if I have to do one more friggin' repetition, I'm done. Okay? So 3 times a week multi-movements. Here's the top ones. Compound exercises I hit on were squats, lunges, deadlifts, hip thrusters, even, you know, full body movements like doing cleans and power snatches and those types of things, which you definitely need to be taught how to do. Working with stability balls, so getting your ass off the ground, creating that unstable surface, working with your own body weight. So it doesn't always have to be load based. We can take Just You, which is the most incredible machine. And when I work with clients in the beginning, I don't even put load on your body. I teach you first how to use you. So we master air squats, we master body weight lunges, we master the hip hinging movement that is happening in deadlifts and how you recruit your hamstrings and your glutes and not your QL and your lumbar spine in its entirety. We work on doing lying leg curls with the stability ball so you know how to activate and keep the glutes firing and keep your pelvis and hips up so that your hamstrings, more so on the eccentric part of that movement, are totally showing up and firing. So it's not all in your calves, or it's not happening into the anterior part of your lower leg into your shins, or your quads aren't doing all this gripping and pulling work for you. Bands. If you're not using bands, doing lateral stepping band walks, doing banded floor work. If you've ever come into any of my sculpted classes, my sweat and sass, my Pilates classes, I spend a ton of time working your glutes. I am known as the ass lady in town. For me, it is the most important body part also shoulders, but I do a ton of work on the glutes. So my floor series, and if you go to my YouTube channel, I have a couple of like 8 and 11 minute glutey booty, quick floor based things that you can do where we add a lot of volume. So the weight isn't heavy. We're using just the weight of your leg, but we're working with incredible range of motion, striving for the range of motion that you all have the ability to create, but because you've been sitting too long, you standing too long, doing all of those things that have gotten rid of a lot of this lateral movement and forward and back motion, circular motions as well. You've stopped using and firing all of the muscles necessary. This is why glute med isn't firing optimally on most people, why you're getting hip pain, IT band tightness, knee pain issues, and why your ass is sagging. Like if your hamstring and your butt have started to become one, they're like a bag instead of a butt and a leg, they've started to come together. This isn't cool. Like we are, and this isn't a vanity thing. This isn't where I'm saying, it's all in the look. I mean, obviously you guys are focused on the look because the response last night was huge, but you have to understand that the more built and bountiful and beautiful that your glutes look, the stronger that they're going to be for you and the more efficient you're going to be at every movement you are doing, whether it's yoga, walking, Pilates, skiing, golf, swimming, rollerblading. So much is happening from that back body, that posterior chain. So I do a lot of floor work and we work multiple ranges of motion. We do a high level of endurance. So we do an overload principle where we just get in there and we just exhaust the muscle. We switch and we do the same thing the other side. One of the other formulas to perfecting your glutes is you've got to be doing ball rolling using the yoga tune-up balls and foam rolling. You have to get in there and also break up what's going on with all these adhesions, all this muscle tension, scar tissue that could be laid down there. And if I notice there's a lot of stiffness, in most groups what I do is I actually have them get on the balls first. We create this really juicy, loose, very open, very receptive area of the body where all the gluteal muscles have started to kind of peel and move slightly away from one another so there's not so much interference. And when we can get rid of that interference and we can start to decrease some of the tension that's sitting in those muscles, now you have the better ability to get the range of motion. And we oftentimes think that we can't go deeper in our squats or full in our lunges or whatever it may be because we're not strong enough yet. Most times it's not that you don't have the strength, it's that you're lacking the range of motion, which is impeding your stability, therefore not allowing the belly of your muscle to get deeper into the contraction or let your joints move freely and get the most out of it. So you could be like, Jen, I do these exercises, I squat, I lunge, I do all of this stuff, but I don't see those results. I feel it all in my quads. I don't get any activation in my glutes or in my hamstrings. The first thing I would do is get you down onto the therapy balls, get you onto a foam roller. We would break some stuff up. We need to re-pattern and reteach your body how to fire optimally. Now, this is in terms of the exercise size of things. So I've said to you, stop doing the 15 repetitions. So how many sets and how many repetitions do you need to do? If your goal, like you're serious, you're like, okay, Jen, I'm going to do this. Like I want a stronger ass. I want a better butt in my undies and in my jeans and my bathing suit. And heck, I want a better butt when I'm wearing nothing. Then here's what you've got to do. 3 to 4 times a week is how you are training your lower body. And I'm going to talk about recovery and what that means as well too. And you're not doing this day after day after day. So say, for instance, you're going to filter and put, so maybe like Monday and Thursday are more pronounced leg days. So you're hitting more compound movements. Maybe you're even adding in more isolated like leg extensions and leg curls in there. But on, say, Tuesday and Friday, or maybe Wednesday and Saturday, this is where you add in like your accessory kind of kinesthetic and calisthenic movements. This is where you do your floor-based clamshells, kneeling, heel presses, some really deep glute work that gets you feeling like, oh my gosh, my cheek is going to fall off and run away. And you go until your body says, like, I can't perform another one with quality form. Stop doing 2 and 3 sets. When you're doing your compound exercises, and in the beginning, when you're trying to build, you're talking 4 and 5 sets. So if you've been following 3 sets of 12 to 15 forever, you've got to stop. You'd be better off doing, 5 sets of back squats for 8 to 12 repetitions and 5 sets of walking lunges or reverse lunges for 8 to 12 repetitions and follow it in that realm, instead of feeling like you have to do 5, 6, 7 exercises and train them, 3 sets, 12 to 15. It's not going to work for you over time, and it's going to take you too long. And if your training sessions are too long, you're not going to do them, or you're going to do them half-assed because you just can't stay engaged in it. I mean, if you're training intensely for an hour, it's too much, okay? An hour-long training session, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're killing yourself for an hour, that's not the goal, right? An hour-long training session should be where there is a really functional, dynamic warm-up. So it's like you're not just letting your muscles and your body know what's happening. Your brain has the opportunity to turn on and start to fire those new neural nets and those new pathways. Then you start to go into mimicry movements. So you don't just dive into your workout. You start to do kind of practice rounds where if you're going to be squatting, air squat. If you're going to be lunging, do a couple walking lunges. If you're going to be doing your snatches, do them with a PVC bar, or just, work on opening your chest and getting into that dynamic movement before you go right into the big stuff. Then when it comes to how you're recovering and fueling your body, this is huge. So you can follow me 3-4 times a week and do my glute workouts with me. But if you still eat like crap, if you still have tons of sugar, if you don't eat enough, if you're constantly on the next diet plan, you're not going to see the results come through. And this is what I mean. You have to choose what you want to do. As women, we have to stop using the word tone. When you say, I want to tone up, what you're actually saying is, I want to build muscle tissue. Built muscle tissue, adding more lean muscle tissue, is what gives the appearance of toned muscles. When you're talking about your glutes, you actually don't want more toned glutes. You want full glutes. You actually want to build your base. You want to build the muscle in your cheeks, and you can't do that through air squats alone. You've got to add some load and add some resistance as you get stronger and more stable over time. Now, if you are doing the workouts, but you start your day with coffee and don't eat for hours on end, and then you have a couple of shakes during the day and then you only eat dinner at night, guess what? You're not going to build your ass. It's not going to happen, okay? It's not going to happen. So you can't be on a diet. You can't be dieting to lose weight and build your butt at the same time. You have to pick and choose. The way you train, you fuel, and you recover when you're building lean muscle tissue is not the same way that you train, fuel, and recover when you're on a diet trying to lose weight. Now, here's the beautiful side of this. When you start to embrace the strength training, when you start to move your body more efficiently, when you start to feed your body in alignment to the way that you're training, your body and your metabolic system are going to start to create this internal hum. There's a homeostasis your body is craving no matter what is going on. And the same thing is true for your training principles. So when we're trying to create synchronicity or congruency between the effort we're putting into something and the actual results we're seeing happen on the other end, it's got to match up. You can't have a dieter's approach, but a builder's, mindset or approach when you're training. So if you're training hard, it's not that you have to bulk up, but you can't deplete carbs. You're never going to build your ass if you don't eat carbohydrates. Get your root vegetables in, get your sweet potatoes, your squash, get some oats in. If you have a problem with grains, there's loads of ways we can work around that and still get your carbohydrates in. When I'm working with women who want to build their ass, intermittent fasting and ass building, not going to work. First of all, you shouldn't be intermittent fasting 7 days a week, especially as a woman. Men are going to see better results with this, also because they have a higher level of human growth hormone and testosterone. We do not. Your female body is designed for survival and procreation. And if we're not getting what we need to get in, and this is what I see happen in people's approach, like, okay, I'm going to train how I need to train to get the body, but then I'm also going to do this intermittent fasting thing. But then inside that intermittent fasting, I'm going to shorten the window of how long I eat, but then I'm also going to decrease the calories I eat within that shortened window. So now you're dieting and you're only actually eating over a 6 to 8 hour period of the day. And it just doesn't work. In the beginning, you might see some weight loss, but you'll probably see muscle atrophy. So you can't get big and small at the same time. You can't build muscle and necessarily get skinny at the same time. So you have to change your languaging and say, I want to be fit. Like, screw the skinny, I want to be fit. I want to feel strong. I want to fill my pants out in the right way. That has to be your goal. So you have to get enough calories in. You don't have to necessarily count the calories or do macros or any of that, but if you have distortion around portions and around how you should be, this is why I include meal plans in all my books and in my programs. The meal plans aren't there so that you're following it to a T. The meal plan is there so that you have a guide. And really, the word plan should almost be eliminated, and these should just be loving meal suggestions so that you have a template, you have something to work off of. You know, it's like when you go into a class setting and, you know, you have, here's modification 1, 2, and 3. All of us are going to work out and exercise today, but you can pick and choose based on what your body requires, what you can do. It's the same thing for your nutrition and your food plan. Here's our base. We're all going to eat super healthy and clean today, but here's the modifications based on what you need. You have to plan it out. If you're at the point where you've been able to plan out your butt workouts and get the lower body training in, but you're still lagging on the nutrition part of it, or you just don't understand it, you need to provide yourself the education to understand what that has to look like. And this can be a big emotional journey for people, is understanding, you know, if you go in and you're training hard and you're putting the effort in and you're like, oh, I just worked so hard, I totally deserve a Frappuccino, or you know what, I'm just going to go and have that cookie today. I train hard, I can have the glass of wine at night. Having the wine every night, like I intermittent fast during the day I work out, we all have to have our vice, and I'm just going to drink wine every night. And it's fine. I love wine, I drink wine. But I don't sit there and then say, I wonder why my ass isn't responding. I wonder why I don't have a six-pack. I know why. It's because I'm having, you know, and I'm not having this much, but I know a lot of clients, they're having a glass of wine every single night. But then they're berating themselves and not feeling good about where their body's at. But then on the other hand, saying, oh, I'm doing everything right. And it's like, let's just get honest. And if you have these goals and you're not hitting it, then let's determine the things you have to eliminate. As a woman, your alcohol is always working against you. It's high in estrogen. It's contributing to estrogen dominance. It is definitely affecting the liver. It contains too much sugar. There's no healthier, like if you want to go and drink vodka and water, fine. But I'm telling you, at the end of the day, alcohol is not going to help you achieve your goals. So if you want to have your drinks, fine, but don't be excessive about it, or you're going to impede the work that you're doing. You have to keep your carbohydrates in, like I said, or you're never going to build those glutes. So if you've been on this journey of just fearing carbs and taking all your carbohydrates out, you have to bring them back in. If that's a scary thing for you to do, focus on getting way more vegetables into your diet, get way more root-based veggies in. Start to add a cup of fruit into your smoothies where you're getting in your protein, your healthy fats, your collagen, all those great nutrients. You have to start to feed the belly of the muscle so they have all the raw material that they need to not only recover from your training session, replace the glycogen, not just in the muscles, but in the liver, and then actually help to synthesize this new muscle tissue. Because when you train, when you go in and you train your glutes, you tear your muscle tissue. You increase oxidative stress, you increase the production of free radicals. Now when you leave, this is where the real work happens. The hard stuff that we feel physically, that we can touch, that we can sweat through, that we can complain about, that we can physically feel is the exercise. But the exercise is the catalyst. It's not where the change actually happens. It is simply the thing that's pushing you towards change. It creates the vessel for real change to happen in shape, in size, in look, and in feel. Now when you leave the gym, how you hydrate yourself and how you feed yourself is going to provide your body physiologically with the raw material you need to actually build. You need amino acids, you need proper protein, you need the right amount of carbohydrates, you are going to need fat throughout the day on a cellular level, and you are going to need rest. So if you're overtraining, you're double time training in a day, and you're doing this all the time, you're skimping on your sleep, you never take a moment, you're not doing any type of breathing, you never hit yoga, you're not stretching, again, you are going to be putting all this effort in. But if the food's not there and the proper rest and recovery and proper supplementation aren't there, you're not going to see the results on the other end. So it's so important to understand that. I was on with a client this morning and she said, oh, it just feels like so much work. It is work, but every day you are showing up to work and shit you hate, and you don't complain about that. You don't stop doing that. You don't throw in the towel for that. You go to a job most of you don't like. You say yes to tons of crap in your life you don't want to do. You do everything for everyone else. You know, you exchange working out for washing dishes and putting laundry away and doing everything for everyone else. But then I ask a question like, who wants a better ass? And 100,000 people are all of a sudden available and can be like, yes, 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 I'm struggling. You take ownership of your time. That does not make you a selfish person, a selfish woman, a selfish mother, a selfish father. do it in a way where, like, stop telling everyone around you what they should be doing to be healthy. Stop telling your kids what to do for their body to be strong and confident, and start friggin' showing them. Show by leading. Do your work. Don't worry about anybody else's stuff. You don't have anybody else out there you have to fix. That is none of your business. Your business is your ass. Okay? You work on doing your work, and everyone else will start to, you know, over time, so it's not going to happen right away, be like, what are you doing? You look amazing. You sound amazing. Your energy is fantastic. That's where it all comes from. You also have to make sure, ladies, that when you are going in the gym and you are training your lower body, you have to lift weights, okay? The booty building secrets are you've got to add weights. Air squats and bodyweight walking lunges are only get you so far. So in the beginning, we do these as the foundational movements to teach you the function of how your body moves. Now we safely start to add load so that we are getting in there and breaking up. You got glute med, glute max, glute minimus, your whole hamstring, right? Area that's made up of 3 different muscles, all of your abductor and adductor muscles as well too. There's a lot that's going on in this area. It can take it. Your lower body requires a bit of extra work. And again, that consistency, 3 to 4 times a week, we have got to hit it, okay? Again, don't forget about rolling it out. Here's the interesting thing that I've never done before in one of my programs, but because the response last night was actually, I was laughing at how many people were like, oh my gosh, yes, or I have no ass. If you have no ass, stop doing the cardio. This is the other thing, ladies. You are over cardioing yourself. You're like, if I have 30 minutes, I'm going to go on the treadmill or I'm going to do a spin class. A spin class actually for the ass isn't too bad, just not all the time. And you have to actually get off your seat. You can't just sit on the bike and go. Otherwise, it's all quad based. Drop your saddle. Get out of the seat. So if you're in a spin class, even if the instructor isn't saying it, drop your seat, get up and climb. Use your body. Stick your ass out. Create long extension through your back body, through your spine, and press and push through those hamstrings and through those glutes. Make sure your feet are actually strapped in. If you cycle and you don't have your feet strapped in, you're only going to get the push down, which is all going to be quad activated. You need the strap to hold your foot in the pedal to pull up so that the hamstrings and your whole back body and the glutes start to get that action happening, okay? So I've never done this before in any of my programs, but I decided last night that I'm actually, for all of you who are signed up for the Simplicity Project for this 4th round, in our private Facebook group, I'm going to do my 3 weekly glute workouts live on the Facebook Lives only in that private group. And then they all get recorded. So you get meal plans, you get like a couple of different workout plans that are inside the Simplicity Project course, which starts on Monday on May 1st. And then in the private Facebook group, I'm going to do my 3 weekly glute workouts on the Facebook Lives, which then get recorded. So you can either follow along with me live. I'm going to give you all the cues, all the tips, all the modifications, or when they get recorded, you'll be able to go and access those in the private Facebook group, and then you can take them from there and do whatever you want with it. But this is something that obviously everyone wants to create, but no one is doing. So I'm going to help you out because we all deserve to have the ass of our dreams, and it is not as hard as you would think. All the ladies who used to come to my studio and join me for my beauty classes, within a couple of weeks would be like, oh my gosh, the results are ridiculous. My butt is sitting higher in my underwear. I feel more confident in my bathing suit. I feel more confident when I'm with my husband. I feel more confident in my jeans. I actually like going to buy jeans. You know, they just were feeling better overall. And this is the whole thing when it comes to the look of our body, is that if we can reverse engineer that and we can focus on how we want to feel, like, why do you want a better butt? That's a question you have to ask yourself. Because if your why isn't big enough, you won't show up 3 times a week to work out with me. You won't listen to anything I'm saying. You probably just hopped on here hoping that I was going to tell you that you could do 4 leg lifts a day, or there was a bottle where you could go and buy pills that would make your butt look better. Like, I'm not that girl, and I don't sugarcoat it, and I'm not going to tell you it's easy. I will point you in the right direction. I will be your biggest cheerleader, and I will show you every step of the way, but you got to show up. You got to show up. And this is the thing. If you don't have a gym membership, if you don't have a trainer, if you're not at a studio, if you don't sign up and do a program like mine, and you sit there and say, well, I can't afford it, do a social experiment. do a social experiment on yourself right now. For the next month, how about you keep track of every single receipt and you look at the crap you waste $150, $200, $300 on every single month. You will shake your head at just the sheer shit that you are wasting money on. Why don't you reallocate? Here's the funny thing. You don't have to find more money. You don't have to go out and make more money to join a gym, to do a program, to get a personal trainer. You just actually have to start to look at what you're spending and reallocate your budget and shift that into something that's actually contributing and adding to your goals and how you want to feel and what you want to do. And look, if you're like, oh God, the sound of the strength training, I don't want to do that. I do my yoga. Is there a way I can strengthen my ass in yoga? Heck yeah. I do it every single yoga class I teach and I'm in. Even if the instructor isn't incorporating glute exercises, I figure out a way to do it. My brand new DVDs, I give you, like, there's glutes literally in everything. The workouts you get in the Simplicity Project course, you get glutes literally in everything. And if you come to the gym with me for a session, even if you're just a student with me next to me, I'm going to whisper in your ear and tell you how you can squeeze here and squeeze there and get a little bit more glute activation. Okay, so you got glute questions, I'm your glute girl. But here's what I will not tell you. It's not going to come through way of starvation dieting. It's not going to come from sitting on the internet or thigh machine at the gym. It is not going to come from logging endless hours on the treadmill or doing endurance type sports, okay? All of you that are doing, half marathons, triathlons, all that's great. I've done all those things, but I will tell you, if your goal is to build a solid ass, those aren't the things that are going to get you there. Ladies, you got to embrace your body. You got to embrace your weight. You need to learn how to bend and flex and extend and move your body. All right, so in summary, watch this again because there are many great teachables. And then the other thing would be for those of you that have already signed up for it, you're going to get it right away. Those of you who haven't, head on over to jenpike.com. You'll see on the top bar, the Simplicity Project. Or if you're on Instagram following me, in my bio, right in the link, the hyperlink that's in there, click on that. It's going to take you right into the registration for the Simplicity Project. I'm training with you in that course. 3 times live a week, strictly on your back body, on your ass, your glutes, your hips, and your thighs. 3 times a week live with me in the private Facebook group. No one else sees you training. You're doing this in the comfort of your home. It doesn't even matter if you're traveling, and it's all going to be recorded and it's all going to be saved for you. And you're going to get that for free. I'm just adding that in because, like I said, I felt last night we need a bit of a bum revolution. Everybody is desperate for that booty. So have a fantastic rest of your day. I hope that this was helpful. Was this helpful? Give me some thumbs up and some hearts and let me know. Did this, get you motivated as you move into the weekend? Do me a favor. It's Friday. Don't make tonight or this weekend like your last supper and, devour everything in sight because Monday is going to be your next booty day. Do something right now for your glutes. Go onto YouTube, do one of my 8 or 11 minute glute workouts, sign up for the program, join me on this journey. I give you my personal guarantee. Your ass is going to look better in 6 weeks. My personal guarantee. And you could take a before and then an after and send it to me and let me know. So have an awesome weekend. Cheers to creating asses that are worthy of slapping. Have a good one.